Hi guys, James, owner of BTX, and today I'm going to talk about the 3 biggest fat loss mistakes you're all making. Number 1 is too little calories. Seems weird. We all know you need to be eating less than you're burning, factually, to lose weight. So people think, this is crazy. Why eating too little calories? Why is that an issue? 99% of clients who get here at BTX and average population eats too little. The reason being is what they do is they start a diet that's overly strict and unrealistic long term. All diets work if you stick to them. So what tends to happen is people go way too aggressive for calorie deficit. They work for a day or two. Then what happens is, we all know you do this, is what they'll do is have a little bit of rubbish, some bit of chocolate cake, etc. Then you go ballistic and binge eat. Gorge. Then you go, I'll start again tomorrow. I'll make the diet even stricter. And you go round and round in circles. 10 years later, and you put huge amounts of weight on. Much better way to do things is to have a small calorie deficit, 300, 400 calories, and then keep consistently doing that over a long period of time. Then you'll get in shape and stay in shape. The best way to do this is really to get a coach, someone that knows what they're doing and someone that keeps you accountable. Another thing is the weekend binge eating with that as well. So when you do too low calories, you go, when's my cheat day? When's my cheat day? And then you binge eat all weekend and you take yourself out of the calorie deficit. Say you're doing a 300 calorie deficit per day, end up eating a surplus of 3,000 calories Saturday and Sunday with binge drinking and binge eating. You actually put yourself out of your deficit and end up putting weight on over time. So the way to solve that is small deficit consistently over time. Number 2, second biggest fat loss mistake is eating too little protein. Eating enough protein, there's many benefits. Number 1, eating protein will keep you full, satiating. So if you're eating a good portion of protein at each meal, you will be less hungry and you'll have less space for fats, carbohydrates, etc. So that's why you start each meal with a good protein source. I suggest between 30 and 50 grams, depending on how heavy you are. That is enough to stimulate protein synthesis and turn on mTOR pathway. And that tells your body to build muscle. Another thing would be is to make sure you're getting the total protein you need per day, okay? Best amount of protein is 2 grams per kilo body weight, up to 2.2 grams per kilo per body weight. If you're very overweight, then what you'll do is use your body weight you're aiming for. Say you're 120 kilos, you want to get down to 80 kilos. Use 80 kilos as the weight you use to work out your protein intake. So times that by 2, 160 grams of protein a day. Then divide that by 4 to 6 feedings. If you're eating consistent amounts of protein at each small times a day, every 3 to 4 hours, you're going to keep full all the time. Again, calorie deficit, enough protein is going to maintain the muscle while you're in the deficit. Number 3 of fat loss mistakes is fasting. I know everyone loves intermittent fasting, but the number 1 question I get asked by overweight people is, what do you think of intermittent fasting? There are many benefits of intermittent fasting in terms of longevity, reduced risk of cancer, but fasting was one of the worst things you can do when trying to lose body fat. Hear me out. So to build muscle tissue, we said before, you need to be turning on protein synthesis, and it lasts 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours. So if you have a period of fasting, say for whatever it is, 12 hours in the morning, that period you'll be in a catabolic state. You'll be burning muscle tissue. So what happens is, even though you're in a calorie deficit, you'll be burning lots of muscle for that first 12 hours, and that is not what we want. If we burn fat and muscle at the same rate, we actually end up in the same position. Even though we've lost weight, we've dropped fat and muscle and end up at the same body fat percentage. And the other point that's really serious with intermittent fasting or fasting is pretty much all of you, I'm looking at whoever's watching this video, are using it as an excuse to binge eat. So what people do is they go, I'll fast in the morning and then I'll pack all my calories into the evening. And quite often what people will do, say they have 2,000 calories left, it will lead to binge eating. They won't do 2,000. When they start gorging, and because they're so hungry from the fast in the morning, they're going to end up eating way too much and take themselves out of the deficit. Okay? So guys, hope that helped. Just to recap, 3 biggest fat loss mistakes. Number 1 is eating too little calories, ends up as binge eating. Number 2, not eating enough protein. Protein keeps you full and helps hold onto muscle tissue while dieting. Number 3 is fasting. Fasting leads to binge eating and also burning plenty of muscle, which is not what you want to do when you're going into a diet. Thank you so much for listening, guys. See you soon.